like far-off thunder or a distant waterfall.
"It's the tree,"
said the Dryad shortly. "What's it doing?" said Rincewind.
"Living."
I wondered about that. I mean, are we really in a tree? Have I been reduced in size? From outside it looked narrow enough for me to put my arms round.
"It is."
But here I am inside it."
"You are."
Said Rincewind. Drueli laughed.
"I can see into your mind, false wizard. Am I not a Dryad? Do you not know that what you belittle by the name tree is but the mere four-dimensional analogue of a whole multi-dimensional universe which— No, I can see you do not. I should have realized that you weren't a real wizard when I saw you didn't have a staff."
"Lost it in a fire," lied Rincewind automatically.
"No hat with magic sigils embroidered on it."
"It blew off."
"No familiar."
"It died. Look, thanks for rescuing me, but if you don't mind, I think I ought to be going. If you could show me the way out." Something in her expression made him turn around. There were 3 he-dryads behind him. They were as naked as the woman, and unarmed. That last fact was irrelevant, however. They didn't look as though they would need weapons to fight Rincewind. They looked as though they could shoulder their way through solid rock and beat up a regiment of trolls into the bargain. The 3 handsome giants looked down at him with wooden menace. Their skins were the colour of walnut husks, and under it muscles bulged like sacks of melons. He turned around again and grinned weakly at Drueli. Life was beginning to take on a familiar shape again. "I'm not rescued, am I?" he said. "I'm captured, right?"
"Of course."
"And you're not letting me go?" It was a statement. Drueli shook her head.
"You hurt the tree. But you are lucky. Your friend is going to meet Bel-Sham-Haroth. You will only die."
From behind, 2 hands gripped his shoulders in much the same way that an old tree root coils relentlessly around a pebble.
"With a certain amount of ceremony, of course," the Dryad went on, "after the sender of 8 has finished with your friend."
All Rincewind could manage to say was, "You know, I never imagined there were he-dryads, not even in an oak tree." One of the giants grinned at him. Drueli snorted.
"Stupid. Where do you think acorns come from?"
There was a vast empty space like a hall, its roof lost in the golden haze. The endless stair ran right through it. Several hundred dryads were clustered at the other end of the hall. They parted respectfully when Drueli approached, and stared through Rincewind as he was propelled firmly along behind. Most of them were females, although there were a few of the giant males among them. They stood like god-shaped statues among the small, intelligent females. "Insects," thought Rincewind. "The tree is like a hive." But why were there dryads at all? As far as he could recall, the tree people had died out centuries before. They had been out-evolved by humans, like most of the other Twilight peoples. Only elves and trolls had survived the coming of man to the Discworld. The elves because they were altogether too clever by half, and the trollen folk because they were at least as good as humans at being nasty, spiteful and greedy. Dryads were supposed to have died out along with gnomes and pixies. The background roar was louder here. Sometimes a pulsing golden glow would race up the translucent walls until it was lost in the haze overhead. Some power in the air made it vibrate.
"Oh, incompetent wizard," said Drueli. "See some magic. Not your weasel-faced tame magic, but root and branch magic. The old magic. Wild magic. Watch."
50 or so of the females formed a tight cluster, joined hands, and walked backwards until they formed the circumference of a large circle. The rest of the dryads began a low chant. Then, at a nod from Drueli, the circle began to spin widdershins. As the pace began to quicken, and the complicated threads of the chant began to rise, Rincewind found himself watching, fascinated. He had heard about the old magic at university, although it was forbidden to wizards. He knew that when the circle was spinning fast enough against the standing magical field of the Discworld itself in its slow turning, the resulting astral friction would build up a vast potential difference which would earth itself by a vast discharge of the elemental magical force. The circle was a blur now, and the walls of the tree rang with the